Hey everyone, welcome to the Bootleg. I'm back.
He's
Got a little
back.
sun, refreshed. I'm ready to go to the playoffs. But we got 3 more weeks.
3 more weeks, yeah.
3 more weeks.
A lot of football to be played.
A lot of football to be played again. Tom Kreager with the Tennessean. He's Michael Murphy. What a week we had in Week 8.
Yeah, it was especially big in Division 2. Division 2 AAA in particular.
McCallie beats Brentwood Academy. Last week the question was asked, can anybody beat Brentwood Academy? We now know the answer.
McCallie answered, man.
McCallie 31, Brentwood Academy 27. I will say McCallie scored the last 15 points to win that game. Your thoughts on the loss, and it kind of jumbles up everything.
Yeah, it really does. While Brentwood Academy was losing to McCallie a couple miles away at Innsworth, NBA was excuse me, taking care of the Tigers. They won 14-7. They're now in first place, but they play Brentwood Academy in 2 weeks, or a week from Friday. So if Brentwood Academy wins that, we're looking at, I think, 3 teams with 1 loss.
And we got a headache going on.
And they all hold the tiebreakers against each other.
Overall record.
Overall record will come into play, I believe. Brentwood Academy. NBA's got the 1 extra loss. They have the 1 loss to MUS.
Under that scenario you've pitched, Brentwood Academy would beat NBA for a 3-way tie. And
McCallie obviously holds the heads up over Brentwood Academy.
Yeah.
And we'll see, like I said, 2 weeks against BA NBA. That's probably going to tell the story.
So you know, Brentwood Academy 24-game win streak, all gone. They've been dominant the last few years, and obviously someone already pointed out that you know, hey, the goal was for fourth straight state championship. It wasn't to keep winning, keep the streak alive. But this team, and you've seen this team a lot more than I have, but this team seems to be a different team from what Cody White has had the last few years.
Well, it's at the quarterback position. I mean, Wade Williams in his first year, he's done a good job. He's run the ball really effectively. They haven't had the ability to throw the ball that they've had with Gavin Schoenwald, Jeremiah Oatsfall before that. So it's a different feel. There's a lot. The line is coming to play. They're running the football a lot more, even from the quarterback position. But, I mean, like you said, they were just taking care of business coming into this week and coming into the final 5 minutes of that game.
The thing is, this team has been anchored, I think, around defense. That's the story of this team, and you know that's what makes this so tough to see. Is, you know, as dominant as this team has been on defense, to give up 15 straight points to lose this game, that to me, you know, they got some things to work out, and probably it's better to lose now than in November.
Absolutely.
But definitely, you know, my question to you, you've seen Innsworth a couple times. Can Innsworth play a spoiler? Because right now they're a fourth best team. Let's be honest. I mean, you've got BA, McCallie, and NBA, and shake them up, throw them up, see where they land. But Innsworth right now is the 4th best. Can they play a spoiler and knock off a BA?
I mean, they could. I've seen them twice now against 2 pretty good teams, NBA and CPA. And
been their bad luck charm.
It could be. I didn't think of it until just now. But, I just don't see it with Innsworth this year. They got a ton of talent on the field. Keyshawn Lawrence, Tyler Barron, plenty of young kids as well. They just don't seem to put it together when I've seen them, at least. So I just don't think they have the offense to hang with, I would say, Brentwood Academy. They certainly didn't against McCallie earlier in the season.
Well, speaking of hanging, you'll be kind of hanging out in your crib area there.
In the old neighborhood.
Your neighborhood.
My
this
new
week,
neighborhood.
Your new neighborhood this week. Pearl Cone, 6-2, 5-2.
6-2.
6-2. They go to East Nashville, 8-0.
8-0.
8-0, folks. This East Nashville team, undefeated. Best team Brian Waite's had
Since 2014. That team was also, I believe, 8-0.
This team's better.
But this team's better. It's the now, yeah.
I'm telling you,
absolutely.
This team. I think this team's better. All right, tell me who is going to win this game and why.
I struggled over this one. I don't know. I didn't know.
Folks.
I got to think. I think I got to go with Pearl Cone here.
Whoa.
Close one. I go 44-42. A lot of points, but I got to go with Pearl Cone.
Folks, I doubted this East Nashville team.
You did.
I've gone on record to say I don't know if I'm ready to buy into this East Nashville team. Did I not?
He did. Even more off mic, folks, than he did
a lot more off mic.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. I wasn't sold on it. They beat Riverdale one of the first weeks of the season. It's a down Riverdale team.
Yep.
I said, wait until they play Giles County. They beat Giles County. Folks, this team can win a big game. They're playing at home.
Yep.
I think East Nashville shocks the Firebirds 35-34. I just think this is the year of the East Nashville Eagle. They find a way to win it, and they go 9-0 going into a break, I believe, and then they get Northeast. And we'll worry about that. That's another Eagles team. We'll worry about them later. We don't really care about that. This is the region week. This is really for the region title.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm picking Pearl Cone by 2 points here. I'm not predicting a blowout here. So, I mean, this could easily go both ways. I'm excited to see East Nashville in their own stadium play a game of this caliber against Pearl Cone.
Biggest game in this stadium since it was built a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Pearl Cone, they're coming off a huge game. I think they topped the 60-point mark for the second straight week. They did it against Class 6A team in Memphis, Cordova. Xavier Shepard.
Big game.
5 total touchdowns? Six total touchdowns.
6 total touchdowns.
Man, when he plays well, he did that against Giles earlier in the season. He had 5 touchdowns. In the big games, he plays well. I think he'll have a huge night. We'll see. East Nashville can play some D.
Xavier Shepard, 11 of 15 passing, 181 yards, 209 yards rushing, 6 total touchdowns. But East Nashville, 13 interceptions this year.
That's a big stat.
That's a huge stat when you're thinking the passing game of Pearl Cone.
Yep.
Jaden, they've got someone that can handle Jaden Harrison.
And Pearl Cone is the passing number on a season have been down a little bit. They're not throwing the ball as well as they have. East Nashville's coaching staff pointed that out to me when I went over there about a week ago. But let's make no mistake, they can throw it when they need to.
East Nashville, 5 players with 2 interceptions or more. Stanley Cross has 3 picks. And the big guy, Jalen Davis, 5 sacks.
Yep.
I think he'll put some pressure on him. It's going to be up to the linebackers to figure out how to slow down that run game. They do have some speed in the running back. I think they do it. Folks, if you live in the East Nashville area, this is going to be a special night. Not just because you'll see this guy on the sideline. It's going to be a special night because this is a region title game.
Yep.
They haven't played a game of this magnitude in this stadium ever. I know there's a lot of new people moving into this area. This is a good showcase for Nashville. Now, with that being said, everyone behave themselves. Have a good time. This could be a great moment. No fighting.
I'm on deadline.
No fighting. He's on deadline. Keep it clean. Sad news.
Yes, very sad.
Tough weekend in Williamson County. Brentwood Jr. Lucas Davis died this last weekend. He was a junior offensive lineman for the Bruins. I know you talked to Ron Crawford. I mean, I think the whole community's torn up. All Williamson County has reached out to Brentwood. Tough week. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family, and it's a tough week for them.
Tough deal for the family, tough deal for the school, tough deal for the team. I mean, that's a teammate, and you're still in the middle of a season. Yeah. Like you said, it's a tough deal.
And it's not even just football. I mean, you got sports, soccer's going on and volleyball's going on, and I'm sure in the back of their head they know this. They know him.
And you still kind of got to go through, and it's thoughts and prayers out to Brentwood.
Mr. Football Watch. We skipped this over last week because I wasn't in town, but wanted to bring this back. Division II AA, Division II AAA. Let's talk about those two divisions. I think I'll be the first one to say I think Division II AAA is completely up for grabs.
Yeah, I think so too. I've kind of kicked it around a little bit. You've brought it up in recent weeks, and there's just not a standout guy. Obviously,
Bill
Norton, he's the returning winner from Christian Brothers.
I don't think he's been as he's got stats. I don't think he's been as dominant as he was a year ago, and I've talked to some people close to the situation, and they've told me as well that he's not as dominant of a player as he was as a junior. Of course, he's got a couple more weeks to show that around. So I think it is potentially could be wide open. Now you can see voters saying because it's wide open, they're just going to, he could be the favorite still since he's the defending winner.
Yeah.
NBA. Let me throw a couple names out there. Both named Jackson.
The Jacksons.
The Jackson duo. Jackson Hanna, linebacker, 42 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 1 fumble recovery. I think he's had a really good year on this defense, and this is an NBA team I've been thinking about. This is not a razzle-dazzle team. They don't have a Ty Chandler. They're not going to wow you on offense. They're gonna line it up and run it and throw it just to keep you honest. This is a defensive-led team. He's a key linebacker, key captain for this team. I think he's got to be at least in the conversation, and I think you got to think of Jackson Lampley.
Yeah. Because
this kid's played there forever. He's going to Tennessee. Of course, Jackson Hanna's going to Nebraska. Lampley anchors this line, and they've got a lot of newcomers to this line here. I think he's got to be in the conversation as well. I know the problem is with offensive linemen, unless you're like the top lineman in the country, it's easy to get overlooked because you don't really have stats. I mean, there's pancake stats, but
and NBA's offensive numbers as a whole, as you mentioned, are not great. He can't go, I was on an offensive line that ran for 300 yards.
Yeah. It's a defensive-led team. That's going to hurt him, but I think you got to throw that out there.
Let me throw one more name out for you. Ian Hall from Montgomery Bell Academy. Does not have the name recognition of the Jacksons, going to FBS schools. Team leading 47 tackles, 21 behind the line of scrimmage, 12 sacks. And I think Hanna, he is the face of this defense. I think they're not the same without Ian Hall up front. So that's another guy.
And another guy, Devin Curtis, linebacker at BA. I think you rave about him. I know when we talk about this subject, he's had a great season as well, 7 or 8 sacks, and had a great season.
I think Tamario Pleasant has the most traditionally numbers when you look at it, you go, 900 yards rushing, 15 touchdowns. But I think, Curtis is probably the most talented player on this team. He's got 8 sacks on the year, 60 tackles, leads the team. I think those are definitely some guys to keep an eye on.
And you got to remember last year, this is the first year, they only give 1 award per of the 9 classes in Tennessee because the state's so big. We've got to have 9 classifications.
Well, I think it's long.
It's you get a gold ball, and you get a gold ball, and you get a Mr. Football trophy, and you get a Mr. Football trophy. That's kind of me on my soapbox. It needs to be reduced, but that's a whole nother subject. But because of all this, they've gone to 1 award. It used to be a lineman and a back. It's just 1 award, which is probably the good thing. So now you give out 10 awards instead of
6, 17,
9, 18, 19. Because it would have been 9 classes. 2 times 2 awards, and then you have a kicker. You got to have that kicker award. So anyway, I think it's wide open in that aspect. Division II AA. I think we kind of went off topic a little bit. We're going to go backward. Kane Patterson at CPA. If you would have told me before the season, I would have said he is the best chance to knock off Lausanne's Eric Gray. Eric Gray is a phenomenal running back out of the Memphis area at Lausanne. He's won it the last 2 years. He is going to Michigan at this current juncture.
This moment. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk. I don't know where it's coming
Michigan's still the favorite. Kane Patterson, before the season started, here's the thing. He hasn't had the numbers. I think a lot of people are running away from his side.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help matters when you're looking at stat. It's a stat-driven award.
Yeah.
And he's not rushing for 1,000 yards because they have other guys, the Madden kid, the West kid. And I think they're trying to keep him healthy because he's coming off that knee injury.
Yeah.
So if Kane really, Kane doesn't have, he's got the name recognition, probably doesn't have the numbers right now with 3 weeks left. Probably not him.
Yeah.
As much as I like Kane, I'm a big fan of Kane Patterson. I just don't think he has the numbers to really put you up head-to-head with a guy like Eric Gray.
Yeah. To be honest, I can't really envision a scenario where Eric Gray does not win this award. If there was a guy, and traditionally what people like to do is they'll look at the best teams and try and find the best guy on that team. And I think CPA is obviously in the conversation of the best team. And I think the guy they're going to point to is quarterback Ryan Elledge. Hasn't had the Stone Norton or Bobo Hodges numbers, but he's been the best consistently week in and week out performer for them. 1,352 yards passing, 16 touchdowns. He's also ran at 304 yards and 6 touchdowns. So, I mean, that's a pretty solid season for unbeaten team.
Guy you got to throw out is Nick Simptonfelder from Big GA. 850-some yards passing, first-year starter. Of course, he replaced Martin Kidd. And 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I think you got to throw him in the conversation. Another guy that we aren't talking about because he's been hurt all year that we would have thought he would be in consideration is Lance Wilhoit. And he's back. He had about 90 yards receiving last week, so that may make them a lot different.
He is back at the right time.
Yeah. All right, last segment, quick fire.
Okay.
Top 10 games. We've already talked about number 1.
Yep.
East Nashville is going to win 35-34. I think I said it earlier. I'll say it one more time. Maybe even one more time before we go. BGA, FRA. Who do you have?
I like FRA. They've won 5 in a row. I think they make it number 6. I like FRA in the upset, 21-17.
Good to have conflict, folks. BGA 28, FRA 14. The guy I just talked about, Nick, is the man. He's going to throw the football. I do like this FRA team. I think they've turned it around after losing 2 games to start the season. They've found the remedy and got it going. But BGA 28-14. Maplewood hosting Nolensville on a Thursday night contest.
Both of the first
BGA,
one was Thursday too.
Yeah,
I forgot.
I'm sorry. BGA FRA is a Thursday game. So Maplewood hosts Nolensville. Nolensville has to win this game to have a shot, to me, at having a home game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Maplewood wins this game.
You mean Nolensville has to win?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Nolensville has to win this game to get a home game in the playoffs. Maplewood wins this game. They're going to play Tullahoma probably for the region title.
Yeah, I'm going to be at this one. I think this is going to be a good game. These 2 teams played twice last year. Maplewood beat them in the playoffs. I think that was a second-round game. I'm going with Maplewood in a close one, 42-35. Bobo Hodges, we all know about him. Nolensville's Ryan Gallardi, 5 touchdown performance last week. So I think the quarterback play is going to be huge.
Tim Kutras. 6 picks. I think 2 pick sixes. He's going to need a couple of those this week to have a shot.
He'll get plenty of opportunities.
Bobo Hodges, and it's probably the most prolific receiver trio there. Trio. You got
Mikhail Smith, Kendrell Scurry, Travaris Springer. They're pretty good.
Yeah, you're going to need 3 Tim Kutrases out there, and they only got 1. So I'm going to go Maplewood 42, Nolensville 28 in that game. Big Region 5-4A game. Springfield playing Portland. And, this was a big game back in the day. These are 2 marquee programs, big community game. Who do you have?
Springfield. They're coming off a huge win against Montgomery Central. Kind of
36-34.
Took control of they control their own destiny from here on out. And I think the Yellow Jackets keep the momentum going. I like them 31-21.
Caleb Mandrell from Portland, big quarterback, running quarterback.
Running quarterback.
Doesn't
call
throw the
him
ball.
A running back.
Doesn't throw the ball much at all, but he runs the ball really well for him. He's going to have a huge. He's going to have a huge game. Dayron, Fat Cat.
I forgot his name for a second.
Fat Cat Johnson, boys and girls. He will go. He will be playing somewhere on Saturdays, and he has had a great season. He'll have another great game Friday night. 27-21, Springfield over Portland. Creekwood hosting White House in another Region 5-4A. We lacked some Region 5-4A games this week.
It was big this week. This isn't quite the 2 top. This is the other end of the spectrum, I'll say. These are 2 teams fighting for a playoff spot, basically. White House needs a win to keep their postseason hopes alive. They're 1-2 in region play. Creekwood 2-1. They lose. Those teams are both 500 fighting for that 4th spot. So this is a big win, or big game, pardon me.
Who's winning?
I like Creekwood. 35-24 over White House.
Creekwood 21-14. I think White House still finds a way to get in the playoffs because I think you got they're going to have to fight because you got Montgomery Central, Portland, Springfield, Creekwood, and White House.
White
right?
House. Yeah.
So you got that. One of those guys is going to be the odd man out, and it might be White House.
Yep.
If they lose this game.
Yep.
Ravenwood hosting Fairview. 6A versus 3A.
Yeah.
I know this isn't a great thing, but
I mean, I like the matchup, non-district. I think it's or non-region. I think both teams they got big games coming up. So this is a way to, not have a bye, but not have a game that's going to make or break your season. Fairview is a great 3A football team. Mm-hmm. They got a great offense. Brock Harris, Cam Harris, Brock Harris? Mm-hmm. Brock Harris, Cam Harris, Luss, Logan Nardozzi. But I think Ravenwood's going to be too much for them this week.
3A versus 6A. What you're going to see in this game, folks, I think, is Fairview will be able to compete with their starters, and then the drop-off happens when the backup's starting to come in there because there's more depth. It's not knocking the depth of the people coming in from Fairview. From a 3A standpoint, that's great. It's the people that they're bringing, that Ravenwood's bringing in, there's not as much of a drop-off as, say, a Fairview.
Yeah, and I think I saw a similar game earlier in the season, Page and Ravenwood. And Page's 5A program, and it was kind of the same story. It was close early. Ravenwood pulled away.
Ravenwood 35-14 over Fairview. That's probably a little closer than it was a year ago, I believe.
Yeah, I'd like Ravenwood 42-28. That's, I think, about the neighborhood it was last year.
Columbia Academy versus Eagleville. I think Eagleville wins. If Eagleville wins it, if Eagleville wins this game, that puts them in a good spot for that region. I don't know if that can happen.
Yeah, Columbia Academy's coming off kind of a not so great performance against Franklin Road Academy. Gave up 43 points. They need a big bounce back performance because they have Lewis County the following week, and that is a huge game. I think they get that bounce back performance. I like Columbia Academy 31-20.
Columbia Academy 28, Eagleville 21, but Ethan Cobb, the quarterback at Eagleville, will have a good game. You hear that here first.
You ought to pick him in fantasy.
Let's go 1A. 1A, Gordonsville, Joe Burns. Joe Burns, if Eric Herring is healthy, they're in good shape.
Yeah, they're unbeaten when he's playing. He was our TN Preps Player of the Week last week. He had a huge game Friday again. I think the trend continues. I like Joe Burns beating Gordonsville 21-14.
Had a wing injury, had an arm injury, but he's back. Gordonsville, though, is going to win this game 21-14.
Okay.
Braxton Givens, folks, not the season that he had a year ago, but still a great season for him. Moore County, Huntland. That's an interesting game. That might be the quickest game played in the history of high school football because they will run the ball every time.
Get ready for the run for this one. 625.3 yards between the two teams is what they average. So, I mean, I don't know if they get that much Friday, but I know there will be a lot of carries and a lot of handoffs.
I'm gonna call up Jason Dobbs, the Moore County coach. He used to be at Riverdale. I want him to call me as soon as that game is over. The game kicks off at 7.
8:30? 8:45?
I'm going to say 8:45 plus or minus.
Okay.
I'm going to ask him if it's over or under 8:45 because I think that's going to be a quick game.
Two even match teams, though. You could be talking about overtime.
Let's not talk about overtime. Finally, Blackman hosting Cookeville. Cookeville got them last year, and that's a big loss for Blackman. And I think they had didn't set up. They had to play Oakland in the second round because of that. But this isn't last year's Cookeville team. They graduated the whole starting lineup. Yeah,
and they did okay early in the year. Obviously, they lost to Upperman, who's season opener, who's beaten everybody.
They're good.
And beating them bad. But then they kind of bounced back, strung a couple wins together. They've lost 2 of their last 3, though, and they've given up a combined 83 points in losses to Pearl-Cohn and Riverdale. Blackman's got that offense, too. They've scored 45 times this year. I think they do it again. I like Blackman 42-14.
Blackman has more talent than Cookeville. They'll win this game. They still got some things to work on, I believe, to be a really good team. They got some things on offense they've got to address, and we've talked about this. And they've got to do better with their pass routes and everything like that. 42-28, Blackman, Cookeville. Yeah, the Arkansas connection with Adonis Ote and Trey Knox both going there. But Blackman wins this game 42-28. That wasn't a quick fire game, but that's our look at Week 10 games. And with that, does it for Week 9. Again, he'll be at East Nashville. Yell at him, say hello to him. I'll be here at the office making sure everything goes well, and we'll see you next week.